Welcome back to Grand Prix World. Happy Wednesday to all of you. Before we kick off, thanks to Mr. Casino for your comment on the last episode. For those who haven't seen it, he pointed out, I'm assuming you're a he, sorry if you're not, pointed out that on the setup screen, let's go to the setup screen, the Haftung column here, I'm referring to as acceleration, when Haftung actually means grip or downforce. I replied to your comment, but just in case you haven't seen it, or for others, you're kind of right and kind of not, and same for me. Haftung basically means adhesion. It can also mean liability, which is odd. And what you'll have noticed is when I'm talking about tyres, tyre spec, for example, I do refer to this as grip because it is mechanical grip. Up here, the reason I refer to it as acceleration is it's essentially for clarity, I suppose. You're correct in saying what I'm really changing is the downforce of the car. However, what that changes in the simulation is, excuse me, I'm still a bit sick. It changes the acceleration primarily, as well as cornering speed of the car. So I do apologise for any confusion. You are technically correct to call me out, and I implore anybody to call me out if you see me making what appears to be a mistake or is a mistake. But I just wanted to clear that up for you. That I'm aware, really, you're changing downforce, but for the sake of argument, because a lot of these are very hard to quantify quickly. For example, dust, and you can see sort of a graphic showing heavy dust and one showing light dust. What you're actually changing there physically on the car is debatable. All you're doing, I suppose, is enabling the car to better handle, or not better handle, that's not even a sentence, but you're changing its susceptibility to dust on the track. That's kind of a hard thing to quantify, so I don't really talk about it, and I don't often deploy points there. The rain setup option, more points does not make you better able to deal with rain. That's why I refer to it as heat, even though the column below is heat. Do you understand what I'm going for there? So what you see here is if these setup points deployed by the engineers were down here, then the car would be set up for wet weather. At the moment, it's set up towards the spectrum for dry weather. And here it's set up for cooler temperatures, or better cooling. It's a little ambiguous how they deploy the graphics, but basically at tracks you're expecting to be dry and hot, then you will put more points in heat, which is actually the lower end of the thermometer, but it just implies a better level of cooling. I hope that's kind of making sense, but I tend to talk for the most part about weather variation, overtaking brakes, acceleration or downforce, and speed, because they're the elements of setup that are easiest to communicate with people, and are everybody understands if I change those what it's achieving. If we talk about Oberfläche, or the sort of the track surface, whether it's bumpy or smooth, what you're changing really, I suppose, is the shock absorbers, the dampers. You're essentially changing the suspension geometry of the car with those setup points. And unless you're super into motorsport, then you might not appreciate the point of doing that. Although I imagine people watching this are certainly enough into Formula One and motorsport in general to understand the benefits, and that you make compromises if the track is sort of bumpy. But for the sake of brevity, I stick to, let's call it, the less advanced setup options. However, the more astute of you will probably appreciate that it's these three and wind that actually can have the most surprising positive effect if you get the setup in a sweet spot. Any questions about setup, feel free to slam them below and I'll answer in more detail. I appreciate it's kind of a roundabout explanation, and the game itself doesn't do a very good job of communicating what's going on here, but if you have any questions about any of these elements, then I'm happy to address them for you. What you're essentially doing is either mitigating a problem or setting up for a specific scenario. I think that's a cleaner way of saying it. It's always third time lucky with me, isn't it? Anyway, we're in preparation for round 7 in Canada. The season has not been kind to us. We've built a car that handles surprisingly well. Excuse me. It handles surprisingly well. We got such a great car basically by being very generous on our development time, which we're doing again. Assuming that we achieve the exact same number of progress points, next year's car will not be as good as this year's car. So we have to really try and complete that wind tunnel stage to get the best car we possibly can, because we have a poorer designer this year. This year's car's Mike Gascoigne design, whereas last year's was John Barnard. I've gone ahead and produced 4 spare parts. I've not deployed the traction control system. I don't think it's vital for Canada, to be honest, and I'd like to be able to get the cars in decent shape. Despite all my talk just now about setup, I am not planning to do any setup testing this round. I know we've got the money to make it happen, and it wouldn't necessarily impede us, but I just want to get the cars in better condition than they're in, because right now we have no backup options. We can't even run a test chassis. As you can see, John Fellow's car is what engineers refer to as fucked. I refuse to keep building extra chassis because these idiots can't keep it on the track. So I want to just try and get everything in order, and it's a little bit frustrating because we are not far away from being able to deploy some progress points, but we can throw those on the car at any time, and maybe when we start developing our C-spec chassis, which I'm hoping to be able to do. Now I know we spoke at the start of the season that we would probably do a B-spec but not a C-spec. The reason I'm changing my mind is that we are within reasonable grasp of gaining a position in the constructors, and the other team will not let off. Let's go to the news. McLaren has signed a team deal with Playlife. I don't know if we talked about this last time out. It doesn't look like it. John Newhouse won from pole. McLaren got both cars on the podium, which they did. Ferrari have got a works power deal with Ford, so they've taken that over from McLaren, unless Ford are offering 2 works deals now. Benetton got 2 cars in the top 6. Shinji Nakano is not happy with the car. Well, I'm not happy with him, so whatever. And we've lost John Fellows to Tyrrell. I wonder who Tyrrell have dropped then. That's irritating, because I wanted to keep John Fellows open as a potential race driver in the future, if we decided that we wanted to develop him. Never mind. Let's see who else we can get in. Dario Loretti is offering 13.4 million. Jesus, he's got some serious backing from somewhere. He's only 25 as well. We could replace Nakano with him. And you know what? I'm going to throw that open to you guys. Let's take a look at his stats. We'll do a direct comparison to Nakano. So, where are you? There. So, they're the same on speed, which is what most people's eyes are going to turn to. Unfortunately, his concentration is not great at all. So Nakano is the better driver, but 13.4 million is serious moolah. My recommendation at this point actually would be to, I guess we should see if we can pick up some more sponsors. 13.4 million is not exactly, it's not exactly going to be a deal breaker for us. It's not as much as a team sponsorship deal, though. It is more than most works engine deals bring. But whether we can get any consistency into him to actually finish races, I mean, this is the core of the game, right? On paper, it could be a no-brainer to say, well, 13.4 million is more than 4 million, and it's not like Nakano's been doing a great job as it is. However, if we ask who's more likely to bring the car home, then inevitably it's Nakano, and you need to bring the car home to earn points. And what it's all about for us is making progress in the Constructors' Championship. Never mind. We can't offer Loretti a test seat because he is offering cash, so he will not take a test deal. Let's see who's got potential. Definitely not you. Definitely not you. Nor you. Nor you. And you see, this is why I say we very rarely take young development test drivers without letting them get a season in another team, because you really are pushing yourself into a nasty position. I'm going to take Carl Eisen because he's got 2 points in position already, and one of them's in concentration, which is a key element for a young driver. I think Fellows has probably got some potential. I guess we'll keep an eye on him at Tyrrell next year. Maybe we can pull him back. We'll lock Eisen in for 2 seasons. Let's see if he takes it. He will. Okay, so he'll start in 2000 for 2 seasons. And we can promote him to a race seat should we wish. Okay, that covers all that. All development on the car is ongoing and everyone's in the right place. Our contracts are really not coming along very well. I've not seen anybody suggesting we back out of the Ferrari deal, so I'm going to let that play through. Nobody had any comments either about Goodyear. However, we do have a customer deal agreed with Bridgestone, should we need it, same as last year. So I'm going to throw some people onto talking to Goodyear, and I'm going to drop Danker in favour of Goodyear, and let's just see if they're prepared to talk to us. It's a little bit late in the year to be making deals like this, but you know, we can see who's going to put out a better tyre anyway, and maybe we'll have customer deals to choose from. It's also getting time, I think, to start talking to fuel suppliers, but I'm going to press on for one more round, and if needs be, I'll pull everyone off the Danker deal because it doesn't seem to be going in the direction we would have hoped. Okay, let's repair the cars. Again, I'm going to deal with all the wear. I'm not bothering with the 2% damage. I don't think it's worth our time. So we've got no setup points to disperse, which isn't great, I know, but the car itself is reasonable. And we're going to stick. We're going to stick the Niz on the soft tyre. And keep Nakano on the hard. So that's a switch round from the start of the season, but I think it's the right decision to make. Let's hit the track. 18 degrees. Very dry with a strong wind. That's going to be excellent for our power deficit. Ninth and 11th. So Schumacher takes pole for Williams Ford. McLaren Ford, David Coulthard and John Newhouse take second and third. All within, nearest makes no difference, a tenth of pole. Eddie Irvine for Benetton takes 4th. The Ferraris, Frentzen and Barrichello take 5th and 6th. Ahead of Hill, Williams Ford, who's still having a terrible season. Esteban Tuero out-qualifies us in the Benetton, and we're mixing it up with Jean Alace's Jordan. Tyrrell are maintaining a minor gap, a 3/10 gap to the Prost and Mika Hakkinen. Stewart and Minardi are still bringing up the rear. Let's talk stratagem. We're going to do 3 even runs with Deniz, and it'll be a 35-34 for Nakano. Hopefully that extra pit stop might get him into the points. I guess this could be a race where I regret putting Deniz on the faster tyre, but he's surprised me in the past. And he surprised me again, to be honest. We're just outside the points by about half a second-ish, give or take. And Nakano had another engine failure. So that's some damage percentages we don't really want to be dealing with. Schumacher takes the win for Williams Ford on a 1:33.56.790, ahead of Frentzen, with the podium being completed by Eddie Irvine's Benetton. John Newhouse McLaren Ford takes 4th, Damon Hill Williams Ford takes 5th, and Rubens Barrichello Ferrari Ford. So it's a mostly Ford points, aside from the sole Mercedes-powered Benetton. We were, however, with Deniz, the last car not to be lapped. So I guess on race pace we are comfortably ahead of the Jordans still. I don't necessarily believe that settle points would have saved us there. I think we need to get the B-spec car out as soon as possible, which, adding damage to your car, Nakano, does not help. Let's see how badly he's fucked that. At least the wear is really good. 1%, we can live with it. Off to the design office. I guess it looks like we're going to bring the upgrade package for round 9. I don't want to rush it, or else there's no point having done anything. So I know we are suffering here, but if we can build 2 spare parts and the traction control system, then I think we're in a reasonably good place. We're in a reasonably good price. No new specs of tyres or fuel, but we do have a new spec Mugen Honda engine. The new unit is more rigid, which, no offence to you Honda, but that really wasn't our problem. However, let's not complain, it does have more points on it than the current specification. Let's see what's going on in Sponsor Town. We're inching ever closer to that Works Ferrari deal, which is going to be a happy, happy day. Goodyear are prepared to offer us a 1-season partner deal, same as Bridgestone, so there's been no benefit there. The Castrol deal is getting closer. I really want to... I don't know. I really don't know. We don't have enough people. That's what I'm learning. I'm going to take a bunch of people off here. It's not working for us, and we're going to open negotiations with Texaco on 14%. I'm going to stick 5% on a small fry sponsor. Most of them are gone, but we'll try and get Tommy Hilfiger again. We've got a lot of fingers in a lot of pots right now, but I think it's the right way to go about it. We're at the halfway point in the season and we haven't signed anything. Literally nothing. So it's time to get some wheels in motion. I'm going to keep the spending up because we made a profit of about 300,000. I'm not going to sell any of the team because money is good. Let's instead... I feel like we should run some testing. I do. Is there a car that fellows can run? There is. He can run car 3. We can test with 3 cars, although only once. Which makes me think we should do it when we can develop a new spec of chassis. So yeah, we're going to skip testing again. Not great, I know. And given how low the wear is, even though this goes against the grain, I'm not actually going to repair the cars either. I think we're being quite pragmatic. Be right back. And we're back, sorry about that. The computer made some very weird noises and I wasn't entirely sure if it was going to crash on me, so I just went and saved the game and restarted it. Yeah, I'm going to press on with the race. I know we're handicapping ourselves in more than one way, but it's the French Grand Prix. It's not going to win us any friends anyway, because the hospitality at the circuit is terrible. I don't know, but I think I'm going to keep Deniz on the soft compound tyre. They're both getting a new spec of Honda engine though, and they're both getting traction control. So it's not like we're standing still here. Still not discovered anything interesting there. Let's take a look at the Williams for servo brakes. Okay, let's blast it. Ninth and 10th. It's better than the 11th and 12th we were picking up last season. We were 1/10 and a little bit of change behind the Ferrari of Heinz-Harald Frentzen. Deniz out-qualifies Nakano for, I think, the 8th round out of 8. Pole again goes to Williams Ford of Michael Schumacher on a 1:15.140 ahead of Johnny Newhouse in the McLaren Ford, 1:15.235. The top 3 are rounded off by Eddie Irvine's Benetton McLaren, who's continuing to have a pretty decent season. Coulthard McLaren Ford takes 4th, Barrichello Ferrari Ford takes 5th, and Hill Williams Ford takes 6th. Hill does not like that Williams. I guess he's already been dropped. I think he has actually. The gap between us and the Jordan in qualifying is getting mighty close. The Tyrrell, Prost, Stewart, Minardi, Conger stays in the same order, and Prost are still a mile away. They're a good half a second off the back of the Tyrrells, and they're essentially a second in front of the Stewarts, so they really are on their own with that car. I didn't check the news, but we'll do it after this round. Or maybe I did. My memory is terrible. Okay, fresh boots all round. And we're going to do a 36.35 with Nakano, and he's not going to crash. I'm saying that as if it's fact, but he's not going to crash. And he does not crash. And he picks us up, I think it's 2 points for 5th in old money. David Coulthard, McLaren Ford, takes the win ahead of Eddie Irvine, Benetton Mercedes. Damon Hill, Williams Ford, takes 3rd ahead of Heinz-Harald Frentzen's Ferrari Ford. 5th goes to Shinji Nakano, Arrow's Mugen Honda, ahead of the Ferrari Ford of Rubens Barrichello. Deniz finishes once more in 7th, just outside the points. But this is all good for us closing the gap to Sauber in the Constructors. Engine failure for Johnny Newhouse's McLaren Ford. The Minardi Peugeot of Mika Salo had a hydraulic failure. The Sauber Mercedes, I think it's Sauber Mercedes, of Johnny Herbert had an accident. Engine failure on the Prost of Marini. Esteban Tuero, Benetton Mercedes, had an unknown error on his car. Juan Pablo Montoya's Tyrrell had an accident. Teranosuke Takagi's Tyrrell had a clutch problem, and Michael Schumacher Williams Ford had an engine explosion. So the Fords do seem to be leading the way, but they also seem to be leading the way in reliability problems, as if memory serves. We're holding 10th and 11th in the Drivers' Championship, and we are now a mere 2 points off 5th position of Sauber. Williams have leapfrogged Benetton, although Ferrari lead the way by 10 points. It's an all-Ford top 3 at the moment. I don't think, realistically, there's any chance of us getting a top 4 position. It's very tight between those teams, comparatively, but 5th has to be our goal at this point. We have to take a step forward. See how the sponsors are going. Oh, we've got a TV deal. That could be good news. Damn it, Castrol have signed with somebody else. Damn it, damn it, damn it. Damn it. Okay, so we can use our TV advantage to either complete the Danker deal, make serious progress with the Texaco deal, or progress... How much is 270,000, 450,000? It's pissing in the wind, really. We get 11 million for the Ferrari Works deal. But I don't want to use our advantage on that. I think we need cash. We can't let Danker get away as well. I'm going to crank this down to 10%, use the TV advantage on them, and I'm going to open discussions with some more modest backers. We'll try and get Hewlett-Packard. Again, 15%. And not many available. Telecom Argentina, 10%. I think we will get that Works Ferrari deal, which is going to be our saving grace, I think. That alone should be worth more than all the sponsors we got last year. And then it's a case of making sure, if we can avoid it, we don't pay for either of these things, and hopefully we get upgrades throughout the season from both suppliers. That would be excellent. Let's head over to the design office, where our B-spec chassis is complete. Build that, you crazy bastards. We've also completed stage 2, the CFD simulation on next year's car. So let's go on to the model stage. We are getting a little bit tight for time, but I think we should be able to get this car shipshape and ready to go. I don't think actually we're going to get another spec of car out, actually. Although we have gained a very healthy 6% handling performance with this new floor, so I think it's important to get that out as soon as possible. And we've got a reliability upgrade. And this is where those spare parts we built last round will sort of pay for themselves a wee bit. In terms of technology, do we spend any more points on technology? It'll take a few rounds to deploy it. No, I think we'll stick with what we've got. I could put 20% onto a driver aid, but I don't think that's really necessary. I'm just trying to do the maths in my head about how we could get a C-spec out. I mean, if we tested now, putting more wear on the car, and then began the project straight away, and gave every stage 1 round, that'd take us to round 13 theoretically, and yeah, that would interfere with final car build. We're close to being able to get 2 upgrade packages out in a season, but we're not quite there yet. What we are definitely going to do though is take a look how many points it takes. 38 to bring the B-spec car online. So was that 28 or 38? 38. Okay, I can live with that. And the technology is another 30. So that would leave us with enough to make one spare part. What condition are the cars in? Not great. Especially if we do testing. I'm going to hope the reliability doesn't fuck us, and I'm going to get the new spec out for our home Grand Prix, which I'm assuming that's what all of you would like. And I'm going to build enough spare parts to at least get all the wear off these cars. It's not perfectly efficient because we've got 16% left over. However, I do genuinely believe it's the right thing to do. Actually, that didn't occur to me. We've got some progress points to deploy. Would that help us? Not really. Not really. Although it might get us some way towards getting some servo brakes on our car, so we can prepare it. There's no harm in preparing it. And we're going to run some testing. The car still won't be in perfect condition, but we've got money to spend, so we're going to spend it. We're going to do... Let's go for 340 miles of testing, and we will do the research necessary for a new upgrade to the car, and we will see what benefit that delivers. And I'll look again and see if it's just possible by building a new 99 chassis to stretch our spare parts thin enough that we can get a C-spec out. But I doubt it. That's my honest appraisal. So this is what we're going to do. Hopefully I'm not being stupid. Let's run it. Okay. So if we assume we could put another 6% on by developing these barge boards, could be worth it, you know. Could be worth it. I'm going to leave 5% there. And we'll have 75% on next year's car because they're working quite efficiently. And then we will deploy the progress points. Ha! 1. Thanks for that. Thanks, game, you dick. Never mind. Never mind. We can take a look at the news really quick, and then I'll call the episode. Jordan have got a team sponsorship deal with Winfried, which is Winfields, and Stuart have signed a team sponsorship deal with Blonde. So Stuart should have a significant budget increase. I think Jordan already have a team sponsor, so I don't think it's going to help them out very much. David Coulthard has won another race. Schumacher got pole, as we know. And as we know, Shinji Nakano got ourselves a very nice fifth position. Ferrari have got a works deal with Goodyear. McLaren have gone back to works Mercedes power, which is very interesting, and Williams have also got a works deal with Goodyear. Both Ferraris made the top 6. Castrol have distanced themselves at the last minute from Arrows and have signed with Minardi instead. That's poor decision making, Castrol. Pedro Diniz is frustrated, which we already know. Tommy Hilfiger have told us to fuck ourselves and have signed with Tyrrell. Prost have switched to partner Ford power if they weren't on that already, and Sauber will retain partner Mercedes-Benz power. Roomsbury Keller got the fastest lap in the Stewart, which doesn't make any sense. And Ian Phillips will be the commercial director for Sauber. Computer associate Sam with Benetton. Stefano Domenicali will be going over to run the commercial department at Stewart. The Williams are running servo brakes, which we already know. Craig Pollock is still very unpopular. No one likes a bit of Craig. And there's some espionage going on, which I presume could be us again. I know I said I was going to call the episode, but let's see what we discovered. Level 2 servo brakes. I don't think we can copy that. Let's try, but I don't think we can. I think it's too advanced. Oh no, he's managed it. He has managed it. I've forgotten which screen it's on. Here. I imagine these are illegal. Let's find out. Yes, they are illegal. But we should discover them again, I hope. And then we can report them, because they're cheating. I thought the Williams had made a significant performance gain, and now we know at least one element of why that is. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me. Feel free to comment below on any of the topics we've discussed, especially about the driver situation and how things look with the sponsors. Let's take a look at that again. Oh, we've only just started negotiations with a lot of these guys, that's right. The tyre situation, I'll be particularly interested as well. No one's commented on the tyre situation yet, but I'm assuming we're looking at this rate at a customer deal. So whether you prefer to stick with Bridgestone or we'll be looking towards switching to Goodyear, just let me know below, and have a great Wednesday, guys. Thanks for joining. Take care.